Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
Happy birthday to us.
Happy birthday to
us. Yeah, it's
Let me ruin
welcome
your
to
birthday.
episode. What?
Stark says hi.
Oh. Yeah, tell him hello. But welcome to episode 208 of Flesh and Pod. It is our fourth birthday. It's 208 episodes in a fucking row. My name is Logan. I am your host. And with me, as always, is fresh off of a triumphant run of not playing any games. Well, no, you did play Riftbound. There is footage of you playing Riftbound.
I don't know if what I did could be called playing
There's
Riftbound.
footage of you shuffling and playing Riftbound cards.
Yeah, I helped test some equipment and played like a silly deck. And here's the thing. I played the deck I did just because I wanted to do silly things a couple of times with no intention of winning. And even the rounds I did win, because I think there was even one that we didn't broadcast and I actually won. I always gave my packs away. So what?
Sure.
If you're listening, what Logan's talking about, there was a warm-up event at SCG Con on Saturday for Riftbound. And because I was casting on Sunday and we wanted to test the broadcast equipment, we did like a live stream of just the warm-up event, like the side event. And I was just playing like this jank mono green RE deck for fun, but I was playing it because I wanted to do like big things a couple of times, and so somebody played a card that lets you take an extra turn, and like I stole it and then took their turn for them. Like those
you mind slavered.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, essentially. Well, it's like stealing. If you're coming from MTG, it's like imagine you steal somebody's time walk. Like they try to time walk and you're like, no, that's my time walk.
I want time walk.
I want a time walk. It's not your spell, it's our spell, comrade. So
Seize the means of production.
Games played, but like even when I won, because it was like a pack per win style event, right? Even when I won, I just gave my packs to my opponents, and every time I did, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. Like I'm just here to like have fun, spread
friction
the fun,
and vibes,
whatever.
babe.
Yeah,
friction and vibes.
But I will say I learned a lot. Even though I was playing jank, I learned a lot, and I think I could turn it into something pseudo competitive. So we'll see. But I had a good time overall. Speaking of Flesh and Blood, however, this is a Flesh and Blood podcast. There was a battle hardened there, and I know we're going to jump into stuff that happened this week, but I just want to first, as somebody who was there and talked to several of the competitors, I even tried to say hi to Brody, but he ignored me. But I think he was running late. It was the morning of the battle hardened, and he was like half jogging to the thing, and I went, hey, Brody, and he just went right past me. But I need to apologize because I didn't get a chance to apologize to him before I left to Peter, because I feel like I jinxed him, or I guess more specifically, I feel like I made him jinx himself. Kept checking in with him throughout the day, seeing how he was doing, whatever. And then when he was getting to the top 8 of the battle hardened, I was like, hey, what are you up against? What's the spread, right? I think he had just won the first round. He was waiting the results of like a gravy mirror or something. And I was like, oh, that should be pretty good for you, right? And he was like, yeah. I said, what's it look like on the other side of the bracket? Do you think you got a good shot? And he's like listing the decks and whatever. He's like, there's a Dory, there's a Kasai. And so I said to him, because he's on Syndra, and I said like, oh, so the only thing you really got to be worried about is the Kasai, right? And he's like, oh, no, and here's why. And he explains all these things. So
poor deluded child.
And he was like, well, once they try to math me, they just like I mean, in his defense, his explanation made sense to me at the time, but like my gut instinct was like, of the ones, that's the one you should probably worry about. And if you did not catch the event, Peter lost in the finals to
Chris Ayali on Kasai.
Kasai. So sorry, Peter. I feel like I jinxed you.
Listen, a lot of people get that matchup wrong, and because nothing Kasai does looks outwardly impressive.
Exactly.
But you then realize that there were 3 turns that you took 13, and things are now very downhill. Because now they're just blocking and making you block. And eventually they're going to hit a spot where you're not going to have enough, and you're going to give them your whole hand, and then it's over.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, when he was explaining it to me, like I said, I think in the moment it made sense, and it's possible that he does have like the correct game plan for it. Just didn't get what he needed. I actually haven't had a chance to watch that game back yet, because obviously I was doing other stuff at the time. So I just got like the rundown. But when he was talking to me, he was saying, specifically, hey, I'm on the Draconic Loyalty version of Cinder. Yep. I've got more Draconic cards. And then he's like, this is why I think it's better. And then when I'd mentioned the Kasai, he said, well, usually what happens is like they try to math me. And because I'm on the Loyalty version, I'm usually pretty better at just kind of going above what they expect math wise, right? And I know that that's a deck that's capable of it, but the problem is like if you don't get those bursts, Kasai, because of the fridge, because of everything that's at the disposal, because everything blocks so efficiently, like if you don't have those bursts, it will just outmath you more consistently, right? Like that's
Yep. It usually comes down to does the Kasai player draw their shelters? If they do, that matchup gets way easier.
Yeah. And he did properly identify, because we had, quite a few talks throughout the day as I checked in, and he did properly identify that like sometimes you have to flick knives yourself if you really need the resource just to play around shelter, right? So like it's very clear he knows the matchup. It was just like I said, I felt like I jinxed him, because I literally said like the only one you got to be worried about is the Kasai, right? And he's like, no, not really.
No, really.
So I feel bad, but
yeah.
Anyway, great showing by Chris. Obviously,
and
great
Peter,
showing
really.
by Pete. Both of them also did very well in the Riftbound event. So they were like on the cusp of trying to run it back, both of them into top 8s. They both kind of like just missed it at the end, but they were in the top tables for most of the day. So I'm very happy for those guys. Also, it's just good to see him in person. And if you're not familiar, he's working at a new store in Vegas called Vegas Singles, and they seem to be popping off, and he's really enjoying it. And it just feels good to get caught up. I missed him.
Yeah, I'm happy he's doing well. He's always been, a good egg when it came to the people you run across that are easily approachable, and such. So I like Peter. Chris is also super approachable, easy to talk to. So yeah, both guys, I'm glad that they both did well in both events. The one we're going to talk about, well, we can talk about just apparently the appearance of Savage cheating occurring in Riftbound, but
so it's not Savage, it's Savage.
Sorry, my bad.
And this, I mean, if we want to just talk about it now. So this one is an interesting one because I have seen reports or accusations that apparently he also was, potentially cheating or accused of cheating on Lorcana. I don't know anything about that. I did not follow Lorcana beyond like the initial release. It's just been completely out of my sphere. I know Savage from digital card games, and obviously there, like if you're cheating, like I guess bravo, because you're a hacker. But he's played a bunch of Hearthstone. He competed in Artifact stuff when I covered that, right? So I knew him from there. This was my first time getting to meet him in person. But in talking to him throughout the day, he just seemed like really nervous. And I know that people are jumping on him about the whole, like, well, you're a longtime card game player and you don't get to that spot if, you don't know what's going on. And, he did it once and was told and then did it again. And like, I'm not taking any of that away. And I'm definitely not saying that he didn't cheat. I'm just saying that I've been around people that were very clearly cheating. In fact, when I did the Battle Spirits Pro Tour, we had to escort somebody out of the building who was supposed to be in the finals. His demeanor, like, I'll say this, like, if he was doing it intentionally, he's a hell of an actor. Because, like, his demeanor throughout the day was just a bundle of nerves, and he definitely was not the only person who was making similar mistakes, because
it's a new game.
Well, it's a new game, but specifically this is the thing. So if you're unfamiliar with what happened, he played one card several times without paying the resources for it, and more importantly, recycling as part of the paying. Now, what you need to understand about Riftbound is in that game you have these resources called runes, right? You have a special rune deck, you get 2 a turn. And when you pay for things, there's a numeric cost and a power cost. The numeric cost you pay by, like, tapping your stuff, right?
Like lands. Yeah.
Like lands. And then the power cost you pay by essentially taking what would be your lands and putting them back in the rune deck. So they, like, go away. Now, you get more back next turn, but, like, it's obviously different, and it's 2 different resource pools. Now, I said it on Saturday when we were filming some content. I think I said it on the live stream as well, and I definitely said it at least once on the broadcast. What I have experienced at my local level and what I've experienced when I was teaching people the game at one of the Learn to Play events is that, and this is going to sound weird, people coming from Magic are having the hardest time learning this game.
Yep.
And it seems so weird because it's, in my opinion, it's the most like Magic compared to other games in terms of like how the timing works and everything. But the issue is, people, when they see the cost in the symbols, they treat it like, okay, I only have to exhaust this many things, and as long as it matches the color, it's like paying the cost, right? Like if you had something that's, you know, a craw worm and it's 2 green and 4 colorless in Magic, you just make sure you have to tap the 2 green. That's not the way it works in Riftbound, but all day long, even on the broadcast, I saw people try to do that, and I called it out. I said, hey, like, this is what I've been seeing at my locals too. It like breaks their brain that there's actually 2 different resources. And when I was teaching people at the Learn to Plays, I was literally using like red and blue beads, and I was like, these blue beads are your energy and these red beads are your power. So think of it like this, like I was trying to give them something visual so that it would like separate that. People coming from other games, for whatever reason, don't seem to have as big of a problem, but man, the Magic players just see it as a cost. Yep. So again, all said and done, I don't know if he was doing it intentional, but he didn't seem to have that demeanor. A lot of people, you know, so here's another interesting bit, right? So I saw a lot of people online saying like, yeah, but he's been practicing this deck like online for weeks leading up to this, which is true. He's been live streaming his practice. He's even played games with Casanova, who, you know, casts with me, but they're doing it on an online client. And what do I always say about us when we talk about Flesh and Blood and Talishar? You have to get paper reps. It's not the same. It's easy to miss things. It's, you know, and even when we were there, like the day before on Saturday, I think he filmed like a one-on-one game that we were going to use for content or something with Cass. But even after that, he said straight up, like, I keep forgetting things because I've only played online. Like, getting the reps on paper feels weird, right? So, all said and done, I don't know if he cheated or not. Some people were questioning like why we didn't call it out, and there was a couple of reasons for that. One, we were told several times throughout the day, and I think we even said it live on the broadcast early in the day. We were told that we can't. Like, flat out, they just said like, hey, you can broadcast the games, you can do the commentary, but, you know, we don't want to treat these feature games as any different from the others for favoritism reasons, blah, blah, blah. So like, if you see something, you can say like on the broadcast, but like you can't call it out. But part two of this is, in order to have backup games ready to go for the broadcast, there was a delay. So the games were actually recorded live, but by the time we were casting them ourselves, it was like 30 minutes later. And so there was no way we would have been able to impact it anyway. So, you know, I did see some people like, oh, that's on, you know, the coverage should have said something. And it's like, no, I mean, yeah, maybe we should have if we had the opportunity to, but A, we were told not to, and B, we couldn't if we wanted to. So
yeah, it was pretty interesting to see as many notables.
Last point.
Oh, well, for fuck's sake.
Well, this brings it back to Fab. A lot of the accusations that I have seen reminded me of Majin Bay at his first
Yeah,
event.
known cheater Caleb Van Patten.
When
yes.
people were like, you don't make it this far in an event without knowing what's going on, and it's like,
No.
like
if you've met Caleb, you understand.
Right, exactly. I don't, like I said, I don't know Savich as well as I knew Caleb at that point. This was my first time meeting him in person, but if he did it intentionally, he's a hell of an actor. I'll say that. He has not like got the shark demeanor. Dude looked like nervous and sweaty all day long. Not like sweaty in the like I'm gonna grind way, but just the like pressure was getting to him sort of way. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I did find it interesting that there were as many notables from other games.
Well, there were a lot
that were doing really well in the Riftbound. You had Chris and Peter from FaB. You had Dana Fisher and Carmen Complarens from Magic. You had,
Ryan Miles.
Yeah, Ryan
from
Miles.
Force of Will, Battle Spirits, current dev on Star Wars Unlimited.
Yep. So I was like, that's interesting. I still do not think I could ever enjoy Riftbound as a 1v1 game, but who knows?
It's hella fun for the multiplayers though.
That's
Free
the thing.
for all
is
is great, but
I could enjoy.
2v2 is so my jam.
But let's actually go back to Flesh and Blood, because theoretically, for 4 years, we've talked about Flesh and Blood, but in reality, we've talked about wrestling, sports, movies, music.
Hey, speaking of movies, the reason I was late was because I was culturing Stark.
Oh.
We just finished watching all 3 of the Back to the Future movies.
Okay.
And when it was done, he said, I really liked those. Those must have been peak if you watched them at the time. And I was like, you have no idea.
Yeah. Back to the Future was definitely its own little zeitgeist type of experience back when, especially when people think about 1 and how how it fundamentally changed a lot of things about movies, and it did. But 2 is one of those wild experiences because a lot of people just didn't like that movie, but it's the one that ages the most comically. Mm-hmm. And so now it's gone from being like a goofball movie to the fucking funniest thing ever.
Oh, when they go to the future. So if you don't remember, when they go to the future, it's 2015.
It's 2015.
So I said, hey, Stark, they're in the future, which is 10 years in the past.
Yeah.
And then when he's like walking around town and there's flying cars, I was like, don't you remember that from 10 years ago?
Right. Now it's just so comically it's its own just anachronistic weird thing. And I think that actually made it better. So
I think all 3 hold up, having literally just watched them.
Yeah, sure.
It was a good time.
But Flesh and Blood is the main focus of the show. So we'll go back to it. We'll talk about Battle Hard in Vegas. Again, Christopher Yali won on the Kasai. Good job by you. Please limit the number of points you're going to put on my girl. The top 8 was 2 Gravies, 2 Kasai. The lists were 2 cards off, if I remember correctly. 2 Syndra, 1 Dory, 1 Acilio. It kind of looked like I was looking at Chris's list versus the other top 8 list, and I was like, oh, Chris didn't have an Eye of Ophidia, is what it really looked like. Like, maybe he just didn't bring one with him. But otherwise, it really looked like these 2 were sharing notes. They were really close. But yeah, 2 Syndro, a Dory, and an Acilio. So no Earth Heroes. No Florian, no Verdants. No Assassins. No Wizards. Well, sorry, 1 Wizard, Acilio, theoretically. But just kind of a good old-fashioned slobber knocker top 8. I was into it. I like it. I enjoy a slobber knocker.
Yeah. It was when I was walking around the room when it was going on, it looked like most people were having fun. Looked like it was a good time. The interesting bit, so like I see here in your notes, you have like 0 Earth Heroes, 0 Assassins. I saw more Earth Heroes than Assassins just in general in the room. And it sounded like, and Peter kind of confirmed this, that a lot of the Earth Heroes were just struggling into the Syndras. So
Yep. just getting beat up by Draconic Ninja Lady who has never had a card banned out of her deck. Makes sense. So, I mean, metagame wise, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be upcoming changes with when Compendium of Wraith comes out. We do have an RTN season before then. So it is important to kind of focus in and understand, like, you do have stuff prior to that. And you also have a calling prior to Compendium coming out in Columbus. I'll be there. So, yeah, you have a lot of things going on where this is the metagame. So seeing how these things shake out and how this is a little bit of a disruption of our pyramid with, you know, Gravy, Syndra, Verdance. But I think it's more Syndra inserting herself more and more and more.
Yeah, I was going to say,
shaking the pyramid up.
I think Syndra is figuring out the matchups better. Like I say Syndra like it's a person, but I guess I should say the people piloting and innovating Syndra seem to be just figuring out how to get a little bit more edge in some of the other matchups without losing too many points into the rest of the field, and they are just chipping away more and more.
Yep. It doesn't, but that also leads back to, it doesn't surprise me that Adori does well, because Syndra doesn't want to block.
Nope. And you can snowball into that.
And Dory can make a 37 million power Dawnblade off Gravy.
Yep.
So
Syndra doesn't want to block, and Gravy basically can't. So
so there is that. The Acilio, I think Acilios that run hot are going to do well.
Yeah.
If they just get to go boom, there's not much other decks can do. Of this, like, the Kasai's and Dory are fair decks. Like, they really are. They sometimes have unfair turns, but by and large, they're block with 2 cards and a piece of equipment, swing a sword once or twice, away we go. And that's it. So yeah, like, I guess that's where I'm at with this, is like some fair decks are starting to bubble up again. And usually when fair decks bubble up again, the needle will then bounce back towards the unfair decks that can prey on those. So like Wizards will come back into the fray. I've figured out enough about the Kasai matchup to feel okay playing into Verdances, but it still doesn't feel great. But like I said, that's kind of that unfair thing coming back into play. One of the things that we did fail to talk about last week, and I felt really bad as soon as I realized it, was we got spoilers from Armory Deck Arachne.
Yeah, we did.
I felt like I did you an injustice. So I put into our show notes, what did I exactly say? I said, Armory Deck Arachne, do the thing, Darick. Do the thing.
We got technically 3 new cards. We've had Meat Madness for a while.
We've had Meat Madness for a little bit.
Which, by the way, I really love this card because of an interaction I had at my day job 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I was talking to a coworker, and normally at the place that I work, we use Microsoft Teams for most things, but I had to have a meeting with an outside vendor, and so it was on Google Meet. And I was saying something about said meeting, and I was like, oh yeah, like, it was kind of annoying because it was on Google Meet. And my coworker, she says, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, Google Meet. And it like took a minute, and you could see the wheels turning. And then she goes, oh, I thought it was Google, like, MEAT. And I started thinking, like, you know, when did Google start selling meat? So after that interaction, every time I see MEET, I mentally replace it for humor
with MEAT.
And so now Meat Madness is far funnier in my mind when I think of it as
Google Meat Madness. Okay, that's fair.
But we've had that card for a bit. So the 3 cards to talk about that, you know, we got as new reveals. Rage Baiters right out of the gate, new gloves, and I know what you're thinking, like, why would anybody ever want to not play Flick Knives? Here's the interesting thing. This is going to be a slip through the cracks Armory deck, but I think Rage Baiters is actually the best arm slot for Mario. potentially. So Rage
sure.
Baiters, Blade Break, 1 defense, but as an attack reaction, you can pay 1 pitch and exhaust tap, whatever the terminology is, to have target attack with stealth gets when this hits a hero, mark them. And this is really important for a number of reasons. First and foremost, I've long said that the best way to play Mario is to essentially average 1.5 marks per turn. And
Sure.
the reason for that is because on the turns where you are base Mario, you want to mark them, hopefully hit them with some sort of effect, but then you want to end the turn having marked them a second time so that you can transform into like your cool whatever. And then when you return to Brood, or on that turn where you're going to return to Brood at the end, you still likely want to mark at least 1 time because, again, so many of your attacks want your opponent to be marked. So the idea of having a consistent thing outside of just the daggers to threaten a second mark is key. And the fact that it's exactly 1 resource, so a blue is Hunter's Clave as the first, threatened mark,
Right.
potentially Rage Baiters as the second, is very clean. I still think obviously there's merits to Flick Knives, and this might not unseat it, but if I had to guess, this will give it a run for its money.
In one of the slots.
Yeah, one of the slots, or again, could just unseat it depending on the build. The other interesting bit about this is it's straight up just attack with stealth. So this works on the Graphene Caliceri, aka Graphing Calculator. So when you potentially equip one of those, and so here's the beauty, right? They kind of teased that this was coming by having so many other effects not named Flick Knives that still allow you to potentially flick your clave. So it's not even like you need to rely on Flick Knives. We have the throw daggers, we have the hurls. Yeah, exactly. So again, I think there is potentially a world where Rage Baiters is just better, and then you run some of those that you may have already wanted to run anyway, or like I said, the throw daggers of some of your blues make sense. But this being able to also potentially give, that the chance to mark, so you get a cheaper Hunter's Clave essentially, is nice. Yeah. So
I don't know,
that's the sense. Gloves.
So like with Rage Baiters though, I mean, it kind of illustrates why they had to ban bonds, right?
Yes, but no. I actually think that
there's another card too.
Yeah, so let's jump to that one. So the other reason that they had to ban bonds is horrors of the past. So people were kind of already upset about Mantle with bonds. Horrors of the Past just takes that and kind of puts it on steroids. So Horrors of the Past, if you're not familiar, it is a yellow card, so it's worth 2 pitch, costs 0 to play, 3 block, 2 attack, has
You're never
stealth.
Blocking with this.
Yeah, you might, but
no, you won't.
When this attacks, it gets the base abilities of the last attack action card with stealth you control on the combat chain.
Yep. So that would have been 6 bonds. Yes. 9 bonds.
Potentially 9 bonds in Slippy specifically. So the issue with this one obviously is whatever was played before this, it either has to be a stealth card that has go again naturally, or you have to give it go again. Good news with Slippy, your first one gets it for free anyway. There's also, I think, plenty of other ways to easily do it.
Yeah.
So this card, it's just good when you have on hits. Bonds also had very easy to turn on hits. I could see a scenario again where you're running more on hits that require the marking, and that's where the Rage Baiters comes in as an additional way to try to ensure that happens, because your marks of the Black Widow, for example, they're more impactful. So like your idea, if you're trying to run like Mark of the Black Widow, for example, is you want to be able to attack with Clave. If they don't respect it and then they get marked, you Mark of the Black Widow as your first one with Slippy so that it gets the go again.
But if they block it out.
And then if they block it out, then you Horrors of the Past and they're still marked. And if they don't respect it and they don't block it, then as an attack reaction, you Rage Baiters it so that then they're just turned around and marked again. And then you still hit them with the Horrors of the Past. And now
that's a snowball.
Yeah. Now they're having a bad time. So it's just a good card. Not much else to say there. The last card that they revealed, though, is as weird as it sounds.
I think it's better.
I might be more excited about this.
Well, because it's Silver Age legal, too.
I am a big fan of TLC, right?
I was there, too.
So
I was there. Yeah?
Yeah. The card is called Creep. Unknown if it's going to be a full color cycle or not, but the one they revealed is red. So 1 pitch, 0 cost, 3 attack, 3 block. As Logan said, will be Silver Age legal because it's in the rare slot. Only one of the cards revealed so far in the rare slot. This one, however, says when this attacks, the next attack action card you get with stealth, this combat chain gets go again. Now, this doesn't have it by itself, but again, if you're playing Slippy, your first one's free. Even if you want to run this in something like Mario, I still think that there are plenty of ways where you could give this go again. I think Redback Shroud or whatever is kind of criminally underplayed in some of the stealth decks because it's just Reflex Razor that blocks for 3, right?
Pretty much.
But in Slippy in particular, so where I think Rage Baiters actually might have like the best home in Mario when all this is said and done, I think Creep is potentially like the perfect Slippy / solitary confinement card because you can do this as your lead off, then do something like play your Red Prowl, then end with like another banger. It just,
or if there's a really a go wide anything, this into Horrors of the Past, cloning the effect, getting go again, like.
Yep, you could do stuff like that. Again, especially in like Silver Age / Blitz RIP, because you're starting at less health, you can very safely usually run Scar for a Scar. So you can even do something where it's like start with Scar for a Scar into a Creep, into a Prowl, into a Stealth thing of your choice, right? As just like a good quality turn. And the fact that it enables by itself, like it's one card that sets up 2 more attacks. Basically, right? Like it's such a good opener. And as you said, Silver Age legal. You probably don't want to block with it, but on turns where you're forced to, it still does block for 3, which is outstanding. So it kind of just does everything Slippy wants. It's very elegant and simple, but also very impactful.
Yep. I do like that they have basically they're really solidifying Slippy's identity with this.
Yes.
And I think that that's important because there's been a weird homogenization with the Arachnes where most of the decks are, similar, really. And here we're going to get things that make Slippy a little bit different cards. You probably wouldn't play, you wouldn't play Creep probably in Mario. Like you just wouldn't.
Yeah, not unless you're on a lot of like go again enablers,
right?
Like beyond, like I said, I think the Redback is perhaps underplayed, but you're not going to run a lot more than that sort of thing. So
no, but this is like Slippy is the go wide deck. Like that's just it, and I think that that's good because now we can kind of start drifting towards an actual delineation between Slip Through the Cracks and Marionettes and Huntsman, right? Like they are not the same at all. Contractney, and then Stack 'em High and Watch 'em Fly, Mario, and then go wide, not tall, Slippy. I think that that's completely reasonable. But also just happy that they made that kind of decision. But if you're going to make an armory deck out of something, you pretty much have to, pick a lane. It's like when Rhinar is now Beat Chest, right?
I'm waiting to see what other cards end up getting revealed because I'm just keeping an eye out for like a dot to be missing.
That's only happened once, specifically with a bullet point. It's also happened with a comma, but we're not here to, we're down, but we're not out. RTN changes, by the way. So Road to National season is coming up. It's a little bit earlier than ever before. The biggest thing here is that they brought back XP invites, which is great. And they actually did a thing, I think, that makes a lot of sense. And that's, you get your XP invites are based on only on the XP you earned while playing in RTNs. Now I'm hoping that they add something to the player dashboard, like the gem profiles, that shows you your RTN experience, right?
I have to assume that they will, but
that's easy to overlook, that kind of thing, though.
Yeah.
So
I just want to say I love this.
Yeah, like, it's great. This
legitimately think that this is the best thing that they've done, because again, if they're trying to create more pathways for people to compete, and again, I know that it's still a topic of interest, I'll say, because I saw a Twitter exchange between Pill Guy and Brian about the...
No, that was different. That was yeah, but that's we're going to get to that as well, so...
Well, I was just going to say about the, like...
ProQuest one.
ProQuest qualify. Right. So, in that same vein, though, if the idea is that they're trying to give more people opportunities, like the ProQuest thing, because, like, let's be honest, that was what the change was meant for. It was meant to give more people a shot to get into those. This, I think, is also a great thing, where if you're somebody who you show up and you're not getting the invite, but you're consistently top 8, consistently top 4 or whatever, like, I think you should earn a shot. Like, that's just me, right? We know card games are very skill intensive. FaB is, in my opinion, the best game on the market at expressing your skill when you're playing the game, but that's still sometimes not enough. Like, it's a card game at the end of the day. And you still, even if you're good at the card game, like, you still sometimes get gemmed. So
you do get gemmed sometimes.
I think if you can show up and you can make, every top 8 of your RTN season, or, every top 4 or whatever ends up being like the need, because we don't know how many of these they're going to give out or whatever.
Well, yeah. Top 4s are automatic qualifications. So top 8s.
Is it top 4 now? I thought it was still just top 2.
It's always been
RTN.
top 4.
Always been top 4? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've qualified for it like twice, but...
Yeah, I think 3 for me, but whatever.
Every year I've been qualified, I haven't went. And every year that I didn't qualify,
you've gone.
I have went. What does that say about me?
That you lack focus.
Something like that.
I don't know. But that does track, though. You are trying to play the least amount of FaB possible.
I'm not, I swear.
I mean, your track record says otherwise. Just calling you out there.
No, just because I'm good at it doesn't mean I'm trying.
Oh.
I'm good at not playing FaB, but I promise I'm not trying.
You're excellent at not playing FaB. But yeah, I'm into this change because a lot of times what was happening, and can confirm this was happening, by the way, is the places where people were just going to play, 7 armories a week to just roll experience, right? Like to just jack XP to their XP to the moon to get in. That's less skill expression and more just a numbers game at that point.
Yeah, it's just time.
And in this case, while still it's better, it's not perfect, but because a lot of places like me, there's only one RTN in all of Des Moines, right? There's 2 in all of Iowa. But then you have Minneapolis that has several. Right. So I'm going to have less opportunity within my own state than other people would to play these things just by the numbers available. That being said, and oddly, it's odd because looking at RTN season, like it does the thing I hate, which it runs right into callings. And so there's an RTN that's that one of the RTNs in Iowa and one of the closer RTNs to us is the same weekend as Calling Columbus.
Yeah.
So that's -2 if I want to go to Calling Columbus, right? Which I do. But I don't think that LSS can meter that choice unless they literally schedule the RTNs for stores. Say, here's your date. And that doesn't help a lot because there are going to be stores that have to decline because of something else going on at their store already. So I think that they're between a rock and a hard place, and this is the right thing, is to just say, okay, stores can schedule their own, but here's what we're going to do to kind of change the math a little bit. So this ultimately, I think, is a very, very good change. I'm very high on it. I'm very positive about it, which is not something that I've been hyper positive about a lot of things recently, but this one's very, very good. Very happy about this one. Next, we finally saw the ProQuest Vegas kit. The top 8 gets micro text rainbow foil red bittering thorns. Yep. A lot of people are in on that, including me. I don't think bittering thorns, I guess I could check, but I don't think bittering thorns has a rainbow foil red, has a rainbow foil printing yet. It does not.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might be right now that I'm thinking about it.
It's only in Ira Armory deck and the Tolarian Community College box.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yellow. For a brief moment, I was like, "Wait, was that one in Everfest or whatever?" Because I remember, but then I was like, "No,
Crucible has yellow,
right?
That one has a foil, but red does not. So this will be the first foil printing of red bittering thorns. So people will be chasing those. I guarantee it. They look great. So sure. Top 4 gets one of 2 different Ghost Protocol cards. So these were interesting. I don't think they have them. I'll have to go to our spoiler channel. By the way, if you're in our Discord, we have a channel for spoilers and it auto updates. So you can just go look at these things. But the first one is Ghost Protocol Mainframe. It's a 0-cost mechanologist attack, blue pitch, 3 block, 1 attack. If this was banished from boosting this turn, you may play this from your banish zone. This gets +1 attack for each Evo you have equipped. So this can go up to being a 0 for 5, which is pretty good. Especially if you can just play it as the end from banish because you boosted it away. The other one, Ghost Protocol Architect, is a 0-cost red pitch, 3 block, 1 attack, mechanologist action attack. If this was banished from boosting this turn, you may play this from your banish zone. Okay. Evo upgrade. When this attacks, search your deck for an Evo with cost less than or equal to the number of Evos you have equipped. Banish it, then shuffle. And Tekla can play Evos for the banish zone. So this is just a Tekla tutor. That's pretty good.
Does seem pretty good.
Now, I think this might be the Bolton range, where they've printed some really fucking good Bolton cards. And Bolton is still shit. So I'm pretty sure Tekla's just still shit.
I don't know if I'm just buying into the hype or not, but I've heard some rumblings that Teklo's time is coming.
I mean, Bolton's time was coming a year ago.
I'm not saying it'll be tomorrow, but
okay.
Let's revisit this in like July of
6-7
2026.
months. Yeah. Okay. That actually does track to the 6 or 7 months. That's funny. Yeah. The other thing, and let's actually talk about this because it is important. We had a long discussion about it once before, and so revisiting it since it's back in effect is maybe useful to somebody. But the ProQuest 1 and Done is still a thing. Now, yes, there are some people that took to the internet to lambaste the LSS brass for keeping this decision. One day after Pheno Black, I thought was have to leave the runways because he said something positive on the internet. He saw this and we were back, baby. The complaints department was reopened. So, yes, it's a lot of things to be considered here. There was definitely a player in our area that didn't want to go to Japan and just scooped the gold foil from 3 pro quests by just conceding in the finals effectively. If anybody would have just said, nope, scooping to you or whatever, or done something like that, you would have been just banned from pro quests, which I don't know which is better or worse.
Yeah.
What I do know is that LSS did have a survey that came out of ProQuest season asking people that played in ProQuests, did you like the change, yes or no? I was pretty neutral on it, so I stayed pretty neutral on it. But apparently the result was overwhelmingly positive. And I think that struck people in a very weird way because the Discord they had seen in public, and this is a lesson to fucking everybody, was overwhelmingly negative. But, dear readers, dear listeners, dear what the fuck evers, the shit that you see people say in public is not necessarily how people feel as a whole. There are most people who are heavily opinionated, us included, are the loudest. But there is a bunch of other people who just aren't loud. And so they don't necessarily say in public, oh, I really like this. Instead, when a survey comes out, they say, oh, it's from Flesh and Blood. I'm going to take this. And then they give their honest opinion. So if LSS tells me that this is overwhelmingly positive from the player base, I'm just going to have to believe them.
Also, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. There might be. I'm not going to say like names or anything. We're not going to make those kinds of accusations, but I'll say this. There might be people who also make content and or are loud, who are loud in one direction for engagement, and then on the survey are like, actually, I think this is fine.
Oh, sure. Oh, 100%. We say what you will about us. In the 4 years that I've done this show, almost 3 years that Darick has done this show, we don't do anything just for the clicks. Like, when we give you an opinion...
That's not true.
Okay, you did stand out in the cold with your nipples out just for the clicks.
I was like, I did not almost frostbite my nipples for not clicks.
Okay, fine. That was for the clicks. When I drink these ecto-coolists during the live stream, these ecto-coolers that are expired over a decade ago, that will definitely be for the clicks. But our opinions that we give, even though they are loud, are exactly how we would also approach a survey of somebody asking us what we thought. So we aren't going to say anything to bait, clicks or outrage or whatever. We're just here to have a discussion. And a lot of people did, like, I was overwhelmingly positive when they first came out with this, but I listened to a lot of people who had some very real reasons why they didn't like it. And that pushed me back towards the middle on it. Because, yeah, okay, there were cases I didn't think of. And that's great. And I saw some of them play out. So I went from being, yeah, I think it's overwhelmingly positive to I'm more neutral on this. I could take it or leave it. Whatever. But seeing people kind of just come out with hot takes on it again, it's like, feels like they're going back to the well again, and that's fine. I mean, you do whatever you need to do. I thought that, that Pill Guy's commentary is probably very genuine, honestly.
Oh, for sure. Like, I was not discounting that whatsoever. It just...
Yeah, like Matt, yeah, he doesn't really have a giant content stream or anything that I know of. So he just was giving an honest reading of what was going on and how he felt about it. And I think that that's great. Same thing with John, Lupine Fiasco. yes, he has a larger online following than most, and does do a lot of stuff with, Fab Metal tokens and like the team space and stuff like that. But at the same time, he's always been very reasonable. And so even though I don't necessarily agree with him, it was really reasonable. But then you have others that, but do you know that Runaways is a card in my Runeblade cube, Darick?
Yeah.
Do you know why Runaways is in my Runeblade cube?
Is it because you need to run away?
No, it's because that way
from the pain.
That's Janie's got a gun. But no, it's because somebody gets to complain when they get it as the last pick. But it's just it's that sort of that
first pick it
and then complain about it. But at least it's cold foil. But honestly, I feel like I should get Lucas Oswald to sign it. But in my mind, this is one of those things that's going to take more time to kind of figure out where everybody lies. We've had one season of it, and either people didn't make their voices heard and now they know it matters that they do, which will be good, or it was overwhelmingly positive and attendance was up and all the things that Brian said. And yes, correlation does not equal causation. But they made a big change, and in the same breath, attendance went up. So while we don't know if those two things are causational, they can be they are correlated. So I guess one more season of it probably couldn't hurt. And just knowing whether or not that was actually a piece of it. Do you have any additional thoughts?
I wouldn't say additional. I mean, I think I've made my stance pretty well known, which is, I think, kind of what LSS has been saying. I know. I don't deny that it doesn't impact the way some people interact with the game and interface with it. And there are people who enjoy. I mean, look, the game is meant to be competitive. And for some people, playing it with more stakes at a more competitive level more frequently is the attraction. I just also think that if you're trying to engage more people, it's a greater net positive to have this. So. I mean, it sucks for some, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to head into listener questions, but we're going to start with our listener question segment with the peg leg discourse. Now, things happened in the listener questions, first coming from Samurai JWL, when they said, Logan, why did you erase Marlin from the list of top 8 LL decks? Do you hate pirate Dami moms? Now, I did not list the LL decks outside of the first place because they were not listed on the mothership at the time, and I just didn't have ready access, and I was too fucking lazy to go dig them up. Then Captive Goat chimes in with, Marlin is not that, not even close, which then comes back to Samurai JWL. By the way, it's all in our Discord. This is the type of high-level content you can get by being in the Flesh and Pod Discord. You don't think she knows her way around a peg leg? To which Captive Goat responds, as a woman who knows her way around a peg leg, I promise it doesn't make you a Dami or a mommy. From there, a couple of reacts, and Charmer, in his infinite wisdom, decides to say, I know my way around pegs and legs, but not peg legs. To which Bryn, I got her new album.
You have an
right
album
here.
cover?
Yeah, I got the vinyl. Yay!
I see an album cover.
Anal bum covers.
I knew you'd get there.
Yeah. Could use it for that. To which Bryn said, listener question, say more about this. So, Darick.
Yeah.
In what ways do you know your way around pegs and legs, but not peg legs?
Sure. I mean, as far as I can remember, I've interacted with pegs since I was like 4 years old. I think my first introduction to pegs was on like Chinese checkers.
Chinese checkers
cribbage.
Is marbles.
No, they also have ones where you can put essentially like golf tees in them and still do it.
Never seen that. But
Yeah.
cribbage, yes.
Yep, cribbage. We had two other games that I'm now drawing a blank on that used them. And then just as I got older, like there's so many like worker placement games where you use pegs.
Yeah. Yep. The Game of Life has pegs in the cars.
Exactly. I none of it stuck or took, but there was a few times I tried some musical instruments that utilize pegs in various ways.
What musical instrument used pegs? Are you Googling it?
Yeah, I need to find. No, I don't want the Steely Dan song.
I mean, I do. I love Steely Dan.
Musical instrument peg, because this was like back in when I was in middle school. So bear with me.
I mean, that's like recorders were elementary school for us. But I can't think of something with pegs. Like that's a weird one.
So the one that I did, it's not a violin, but it looked like one.
A
But basically,
viola?
there are. I mean don't guitars technically have pegs? Isn't that
Well, those
really
are
just what you're
tuning
using
knobs.
for tuning?
I mean, they're knobs. I don't think I'd call them pegs. Maybe somebody does. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll give you pegs with cribbage at the very least.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But we still need legs.
I mean, I have two. Well, more like 1 3/4. One's pretty busted up.
I think I have some total one good
I have legs.
Yeah.
I've been between legs. They're my favorite type of earmuffs.
Oh, yeah, they're great for that.
Legs.
Just legs.
Yeah.
I love a turkey leg.
A turducken leg. We're coming
I'm not
up on
doing
that
that.
time.
Like, I can't. That's just too much, man.
What?
Like, shoving a chicken inside of a duck, then shoving the duck with the chicken inside of it inside of a turkey. Like, who needs this?
Who doesn't?
John Madden is
what
the only
is the
man that
point-
should have ever been able to do this.
What is the point of free will? If you can't have something like a turducken, it is it is peak human hedonism.
Peak?
Peak.
Peak. I would like Caligula's probably got to be close to peak.
Listen. People
The
always talk
Marquis de
about like
Sade.
food porn, right? Like you hear like, oh, I'm gonna like scroll Instagram and look at food porn or whatever. But tell me what's more pornographic than something inside of something that's inside of something. You know what I mean? Like turducken is it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And on top of you're leaving out that on top of all that, there is still stuffing inside of it too. So you put something inside of something inside of something, and then you stuff it again.
the something.
You smother it with gravy.
I mean, you should always smother with gravy. Like,
Yeah.
that's just a given.
So turducken.
All right, turducken it is. Next question after that compelling discussion is from Captive Goat. Okay, I've been trying to get this talked about, but isn't Sage going to effectively kill Commoner? It's just better Commoner. Okay, I've been trying to. Yeah, it is. It is just pretty much better Commoner. Commoner, from anytime that I look at like a gold foil Commoner event, it just seems like a fucking million Iridex. And that's it. That's what Commoner is.
I mean, for me, I would just say I do think it's a better Commoner. And I do think Commoner and Blitz are both kind of like dying just for this format. But
well, LL is also dying for this format because LL's been moved to the special format.
Well,
section.
sure, but I don't think that that's because of this. I think that's LL's own thing. The reason that I call this better Commoner is just because I think when it was just Commoner, it was solved pretty quickly, right? It was very clear that the early years of Flesh and Blood was just not designed with Commoner as a format in mind. And with that, as a result, there's just like a baseline power level amongst the commons. And the end result was just very easy math, right? Like Commoner as a format was very stale and it was going to need a much larger overhaul. But the moment that you go to like Silver Age and you can start including the rares, and now also with them adding to it with what we have coming, it's just going to be better. It's enough of a card pool to actually provide a diverse format, but it's also different enough from Classic Constructed that you get to have a unique experience with it, and it's still cheap enough because, like, let's be honest, gang, the price difference between commons and rares is pretty minimal for Flesh and Blood. So it's still going to be hopefully entry level accessible in terms of price. I think it's just the right thing to do, and it's kind of a win on all fronts.
Yeah, it's like $25 for like the more expensive decks, and for Silver Age, it's nothing. The next thing the Captive Goat said was, also, doesn't that mean we were down 2 formats just to basically make better Commoner? Also, yes, but I think that Silver Age. So the same thing with Commoner, really, but I think with Silver Age, because you've already eliminated the top end of card cost, that you are able to curate this harder with less feel bads, right? Because it's like, shit, they banned something that made my hero unplayable. What am I going to do now? Well, pick one of the other heroes and spend the $7 or whatever to pick up the cards you're missing. It's not the same as when, they banned, Tipples out of Gravy and made it into a playstyle that I don't want to interact with. What do I do with all of these expensive fucking cards that I just bought, right? Instead, it's, they killed off Briar because X, Y, or Z, or just banned Briar entirely. What am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to go to a bulk box and just build whatever the fuck I want to anyway. So I think that that's a big part of it. And I do think, not part of the question, but I do think that Silver Age needs a lot of curation still. Because it is light speed for a format. Not Blitz levels, but it's not that far off when it comes to, Briar can still do stupid shit. Azalea still does stupid shit because of, the rare pool, and Death Dealer. You still have like the Guardian decks can still do stupid shit. Like I played in Silver Age Armory, this past weekend, and I'm playing Briar. My opponent throws a Thunderquake at me, representing a pummel on top of it. And I just went, yeah, okay, send me the bill. Sure, 14 sounds good. Writing 14 down, or writing down 6. Good. Present 17 with 3-card hand, and a card in arsenal. That's stupid. And so I'm pretty sure that they need to do a little bit more curation to sap some of the speed out of the format. But ultimately, I think that that's going to be how they do things, and this gives them the ability to curate with less impact to player availability. So I'm here for that, at the very least. Anything else? Anything you want to add to the Silver Age discussion?
Yeah, I'm really excited to play Solitary Confinement more, especially after this Armory deck.
After you get Creep?
After I get Creep.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Shit. Next one's from Delusian Data Analyst. I don't sports ball. Okay. Give me a sales pitch on your favorite sport. That could be wrestling, golf, or fishing. It's fucking definitely not fishing. Trying to find a new way to touch grass since I don't work outdoors anymore. Okay. One, identifying my favorite sport's kind of hard. If you put a gun to my head and said, if you could watch any sport live, any regular season sport live, what would it be? I would say baseball. To me, it has a cerebral quality, especially when you get into the weeds with how things work. The math of baseball combined with the anything can happen. A player can be an all-star on Monday and be a piece of shit on Tuesday. And that's just baseball. But if you can being able to consistently put people in the best places to succeed is definitely a baseball thing. If it was, I can pick any sport during any time of year, playoff hockey. Not close. Playoff hockey is insane because these men just tried and actually female hockey is the same way. They're just out there killing themselves. Like everything that they have in the tank is out every night and the crowds are nuts. Like the energy is through the goddamn roof. The game that's easiest to get or sport that's easiest to get card players into is actually basketball. It's a tempo-based sport where there are heavy swings in both directions throughout games most of the time. Blowouts are rare. And it's easier to understand through the lens of card playing how the game works. With, this team's up 10 and, in the first quarter, obviously they're going to win. Well, no, that's nowhere close to over. I mean, they can be up 20. It's not close to over. Because, again, we're talking about a tempo-based game. You have to... teams are going to swing. It's going to swing back and forth a little bit. You just have to make sure the pendulum doesn't go too far. So, yeah. I would say if I was introducing it to and I've done this actually in Vegas, where I sat there in the sports book watching gambling on playoff basketball, and a buddy of mine who was with me for Flesh and Blood for Nationals in Vegas was like, I want to watch basketball with you. I'm like, okay. And he just asked questions, and I kind of pointed out, he's like, oh, so it's just tempo. I'm like, yes, that's exactly correct. It's just tempo. And he really got into it, really enjoyed it. So I guess those would be my answers. Darick, what is your favorite sport? I guess I don't even know.
Well, I guess it depends on the answer of if I'm participating or watching, right? As a spectator, my favorite sport is football. I think the things that a lot of people dislike about football are exactly the reasons that I like it. I like that it's like burst of action and then a break, because as somebody who enjoys just strategy games and I enjoy in-depth dives, for me, part of the fun is the mental calculus of like saying, okay, what would I do on this 2nd and 7? You know,
right.
What do I expect them to do? Okay, based on how the first half went, I expect them to come out and throw a play action, blah, blah,
what is
blah.
This formation? What is this formation doing?
Right. Like I enjoy that the game gives you those pauses to kind of like look at the chessboard and then do your own thing. So to me, that's why I like it. I also just think that when it comes to like sports highlights, like there are some great basketball highlights. There are some great baseball highlights. I've seen some amazing hockey highlights.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, bar none, it's hard to find something that beats a good football highlight. Like,
sure.
It sparks like that rush for me. It is also probably a bit like nostalgia oriented, just because, back when I was in college, the first time I worked as like field security for MSU. So part of my job was, first I was like an usher in the student section for the beginning of games to help the drunks get seated. And then I would go down onto the field, and my job was literally to just stand and make sure the camera people stayed where they're supposed to be. And granted, like that's just college football or whatever, but there's just nothing that beats like being in a stadium, like for a good
fans.
September fall football game. And I'm a big fall guy anyway. So it's all the things for me. So like as a spectator, my favorite is football. If I was participating though, as much as like I enjoy, football or whatever, I have the most fun just like playing basketball. I think that even if you're just like playing with friends or whatever, I don't know, basketball scales really well. Like you can do it casually. You can like ramp it up and be competitive. Like you can, dunk on your nieces and nephews, whatever the occasion calls for, you can do it. And I think that that's kind of nice.
Participating for me is definitely golf, but I would not recommend it for anyone. It is exceedingly insane amounts of frustration, and it's very expensive. Like, you're looking at, like, Iowa's a fairly cheap place to play golf. And even here, a round of golf at minimum is $40. So like, think about playing, 50 rounds a year. That's $2,000. And then, you consider clubs and balls and tees and equipment and stuff like that. I mean, it's just expensive. That's just it. However, it is one of the more satisfying things that you can feel in sports is a good golf shot. Like when you did all the things mechanically correct and the ball went where you wanted it to. It is it's absurd dopamine hit. So if you're chasing the highs, like golf's real good. If you're good with weathering the lows, but again, expensive. Second part of the DDA's, that's a great name actually. Question, actual FaP question. What was the inspiration for the show originally, and how does it feel to be my favorite FaB pod? Yeah, that story's been around for a while. The inspiration for this show was that going back to the Magic days, Jordan Kennedy and I wanted to do a show together. Jordan actually had a very successful Magic podcast called At Your End Step. And we had talked, throughout the years of, doing something together. It never happened. We drifted apart. COVID happened. And then he posted something about going to the Calling in Cincinnati. And I saw it on Twitter, and I just replied with, I'll see you there, right? Like, I think that was all I said. And then immediately I start getting text messages of, holy shit, you're going to be there? We need to get together and do stuff and blah, blah, blah. It's been so long. It's like, yeah, absolutely. And then from there, it kind of came back up. We always wanted to do this together. Then when Jordan and Abby left the show, I had known Darick for a month, not even a month at that point. But what I knew at the time and how it turned out to be are not the same thing. But I knew that I knew that I needed a cop. I needed somebody to police my behavior. And I felt like Darick would be the perfect police officer for my bad behavior.
And then you recruited an instigator.
And then I immediately find out that I have brought a massive enabler into the fold, who will do nothing but make sure that I'm at my level worst at all fucking points in time. Just, he sees bear and pokes bear. And I'm bear. So what turned into what was supposed to be actually, it's weird. The intention, that, and even talking to Jordan about this, before they were gone or whatever, I brought up having Darick come on. He's like, oh yeah. I mean, he'll bring like an actual air of professionalism, and you guys will, he'll be much better for that kind of thing. You guys can level up a lot easier. That couldn't be further from the fucking truth. Like, yeah. Oh my God. And honestly, so we got through. It was weird because if you ever go and listen to our first episode where it's just the two of us, it's episode like 55, 56, somewhere in there. It's definitely a feeling out episode. We don't know each other well enough to to play off each other effectively. It feels a little wooden. Like, if you listen to it, it's like, okay, this does not sound like the two fucking morons that I've been listening to. But if you go and listen to the episode directly after it, it's just this. It's been that for 150 weeks. So, yeah, that's kind of how this all came about. How does it feel to be your favorite Fab pod? This is hard. The word that comes to mind is undeserved. I think that there are an absurd amount of incredibly good content creators out there. And there are just more and more every day that are putting incredible amounts of time and effort into, giving what I would consider to be personally a better product than we put out. The only thing that I think we are really, I don't want to say better at, but that we do unashamedly is be honest. We don't ever, cut a corner when it comes to, we don't really want to talk about that, or let's stay away from that, or whatever. No, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to give you an honest opinion, right, wrong, whatever. It's an opinion. And sometimes those times have been much harder than others. And I still remember going on William Knuckles' show on Pit Against or whatever, and something came up, and it was about content creation or whatever, and he made some reference to, like, some people, have issues, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you can just say fucking sloop. It's fine. I mean, you can just say it out loud. He's like, oh, we don't like to court controversy here. And I'm like, but I'm going to, like, can't stop me. But that, like, was one of those things that made me realize, and I don't blame them. Like, I don't think that that's a bad choice for them. It just isn't the right choice for us. And yeah, so while I don't feel like we necessarily are the best show out there, we're not. I mean, I'm just going to say it out loud. We're not. I think we're one of the most honest ones. And we will, and I think one of the things that is also important to Darick and I, and he's probably going to disagree with me because he's just fucking like that, is that we are willing to be wrong. And it's okay.
We're not willing. I think the difference is we
are proficient.
We just admit it. I think that's the big difference.
We do, and we should. If we fuck up, if we say something wrong, if we are off base, if we're out of pocket, if we're any of those things, we want our feet held to the fire. We want to be excoriated if we deserve it. We want to be held accountable for the stupid shit we say or do. But we can't do that and not return the favor when somebody else needs to be held accountable. But I do appreciate the sentiment. Don't think that I'm ungrateful, But
also, my answer to this is actual FaP question. What was the inspiration for the show originally? I don't know. I wasn't here. And how does it feel to be my favorite Fab pod? Concerned.
How much concern?
About this much.
About this much, yeah. It still works! God damn it!
Yeah.
That's like 6-7 inches of concern.
Yeah, I was cracking up because they said something about, like, we've got some winter weather coming in and we might get like 4.5 inches of snow. And I turned to Sophie and I said, see, that's a massive amount of snow. That's so much snow. That's so much snow. Most people can't even handle it, right?
Oh, fuck.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, being somebody's favorite show means a ton, and that will never get taken for granted. It is not always the easiest thing, coming and doing this every single week. And there are definitely times I've contemplated not, but
I'll put it this way. Delusian data analysts saved the show.
I mean, let's not go too far.
No, I'm just going to say it. Look, I just did a broadcast, so a different game, mind you. But naturally, I'm in my, post, I just did the thing. Clearly, I'm not meant to do this blues. Like, I don't know what it is about me. Anytime that I do any sort of event, when I come back, my initial response is always, man, that was so much fun. I should never do that again. I don't know what it is about me. It's clearly just something wrong with my brain. But that is just where it's at. So between me doing that and Logan with his all like, I don't know if we're gonna be here because of the meteors or whatever. It's like, no, the losing data analyst would miss us, so he saved the show.
There you go. You saved the show. Congratulations, DDA. Good job by you. Let's thank some patrons and get out of here. Yeah, I know it's not that long of a show for being the 4th anniversary, but there will be a much longer version called a 24-hour live stream.
Unless I did my math wrong, we're still at like an hour 20.
Well, no, it's an hour 20.
Yeah.
But it's not like a 3-hour Josh Scott fest.
Well, we're trying to keep you like hydrated and rested for the stream.
That's got a couple weeks. I've got to be rested and hydrated for Thanksgiving. Which also happy Thanksgiving to all of our fappers and family. But let's thank some patrons. Let's start with our associate producers. We have Andy, the permanent patron for associate producing. Syndra, Anthony, Ejor, Jacob, Aladoris, Octo, Thorptopus, Sofsky, Heiner, and Sleep Coma. And then we have our executive producers on up. We have Blaze Storm Valley, member of the Patreon, Diana, the green cosplayer, John, and Charlie. Then we have our possum supporters on up. I owe playmats to 1, 2, 3 of you. So I will try to get those out. One of you is in fuck off Switzerland, so I hope I get to deliver that one in person. But they are our possum supporter, the Delusian data analyst, the DDA. And then we have our Chargers, Chamber of Charcoal People, Vintox 18, who I have to build a computer for so he can actually fucking make the show. Matt, welcome back at any point in time. Brandon, same story. Dahama, we got to work out when you got to get on. We need to work with his time zone because, again, not here. And then our ceiling fan, the tippy top, the one who keeps everything spinning around. The Polish one, Rich. Thank you all for supporting the show. And thank you to everyone who has supported the show over the past 4 years. It means a ton, obviously, to both of us. If you'd like to be one of said supporters, you can go to patreon.com/fleshandpod. Links in the show notes. Some number of fucking tiers. Pick one. FaP After Darks are probably going to get messier now because fuck it, we balled. But we'll try to have probably one early December. So before the live stream, and kind of give a little bit of a sneak peek of what we're working on. I guess what I'm working on, I really haven't worked with Darick on anything yet because the one time he was supposed to, he just didn't show up. If you need to contact the show, you can send us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. You can find us on BlueSky. Just search Flesh and Pod. Best thing to do, just join the Discord. It's in the show notes. Click on the link. Come on in. Don't have to be a member of anything. You can just come hang out. Talk shit and you can talk about peg legs apparently, because that's a thing that people talk about in our Discord. And pickles and Warhammer and Kingdom Death and hold on. Before calculators, people used in abacus. Okay, I hate everything. God damn it, Greg. Fuck off.
Abacus.
It's so bad. All right. Well, and also working on the FaB TTRPG. That's been a lot, but I think we've started nailing some stuff down. I've been talking to friends of mine who are more in the game master sphere, and they've given me some good ideas about how we can convert things and make it work. So that's closer to reality than it's ever been. And we have a lot of interested parties. So I have a method derived of how to thin the herd. We're going to have tryouts, but more on that when we get closer to it. Darick, where can I find you? Is there anything else you want to add?
You can find me in the Discord. You can find me in this chair that keeps shrinking. Someday I'll replace the part so it stops doing that.
Today's not today. That day. So.
You can find me possibly in Houston in a couple of weeks, if people would ever get back to me.
Those people don't listen to this show.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying it. Mostly the Discord, though. Or BlueSky. Or Twatter.
Twatter? Why isn't there a Twatter?
I'm sure there is. I just
okay.
don't want to go
I'm not Googling it. Nope. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for your support for the past 4 years. Again, there'll be more coming. Doors aren't shut yet. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Subscribe if you fucking haven't. What the fuck, people?
Right?
I know. Like,
it's free.
It's super
free.
Push
the button.
I know. It's so weird. I don't know. I guess it took me years to figure out what people meant by like and subscribe on YouTube. And that was after I had actually been on this show for a year. So can't really fault them too much. But I got to go watch a video that Charmer's going to send me. So I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.